Mr. Drabkin.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to be with you this evening. C'est un plaisir d'être parmi vous ce soir, de discuter des enjeux de cette élection. I'm going to borrow a little bit of my experience as a federal prosecutor to bring what I think is a very powerful case against Justin Trudeau. It's a case of broken promises, ones that he never intended to keep, but he told you he would. It's a government that has been brought into disrepute. In fact, Justin Trudeau is the first Prime Minister in this country to break the law on 2 occasions, not once, but twice. And if that wasn't enough, now he's brought disgrace to himself around the world with the mockery he made of visible minorities. The Conservative government will restore integrity to the office of the Prime Minister. À l'égard de l'économie, nonobstant son promesse d'équilibrer le budget, le déficit de M. Trudeau sera cette année 20 milliards de dollars. Il a dit aussi qu'il va réduire les taxes, mais 80% de moyenne classe va payer plus en taxes cette année. He showed contempt for the values that we share as Canadians and the value that we share with our citizenship by paying $10 million to a convicted terrorist and restoring Canadian citizenship to another convicted terrorist after the Conservative government revoked his citizenship. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's a very compelling case against Justin Trudeau. It calls for good government to be restored in Ottawa, and with your support, Andrew Scheer and I will embrace that call to duty. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Current top marginal tax rates for individuals in 2019 fluctuate between 53.5 to 54. How would your party's platforms affect these rates, or what attempts are being made to get them down to the 50% level?
We believe in putting more money in your pocket, and Mr. Scheer has already announced the universal tax reduction to the tune of $850 for each Canadian every year. We made a commitment to reduce taxes. We plan to live up to that commitment. Also, we want to restore some tax credits that the Liberal government took away. Public transit. We had a public transit tax credit. Mr. Scheer will restore that. So if you take public transit, you'll be able to claim that on your tax report. Also, we're going to introduce 1 tax return instead of 2 that we have to file every year. Conservative government makes sure that the administration is streamlined, so we filed 1 tax return. We're going to restore the tax credit for your children so that if they go to a sport event or they're involved in a cultural event, that credit that was taken away by Mr. Garneau and the Liberals will be restored by a Scheer government. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we mean it when we say that we want to put more money in your pocket, eliminate the wasteful spending. Mr. Trudeau is sending $250 million a year to the Asia Development Bank to help build bridges and roads in China. It's time to start putting that money back in the pockets of Canadians. Mr. Trudeau believes that all problems are solved with a tax. And so he's introduced a carbon tax to deal with the environment. We don't agree. We don't agree on taxing the consumer to solve the problems of the environment. We have a real plan. A plan that deals with the biggest emitters, the large companies who pollute this country. We believe that if they go beyond a certain threshold of emissions, they will be forced to pay into a fund to develop green technologies, alternative sources of energy. That's important to restore our environment. We also believe that it's time to give some money to you and I to retrofit our homes. $900 million will be made available through a Conservative government to provide to you in terms of retrofitting your homes to make them more energy efficient. That's a progressive plan. We also are blessed with liquid naturalized energy, gas, that we can export around the world to help countries like China and India, which are the real emitters, to reduce the emissions that they emit around the world. This is a real environment plan. It's not a tax. And while we're on the environment, Mr. Trudeau claims to be a great defender of the environment. You've heard him say that time and time again. Yet he stood by as 9 billion liters of raw sewage was deposited into our beautiful St. Lawrence Seaway. Shame on him for allowing that to happen. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you very sincerely, my focus will be on being your member of parliament. Moreover, your advocate. I am frankly sick and tired of hearing politicians say, "That's not my responsibility, please call your city councillor," or "Please call your provincial M&A." I can assure you that if I become your member of parliament, you'll make one call, and that'll be to me. Regardless of whether it's my responsibility, I will go advocate on your behalf. If you're sick and tired of those roads in N.D.G. and Westmount, I'll call the mayor on your behalf. If you're sick and tired of those trains that provide noise and pollution, I'll go advocate on your behalf. If you're sick and tired of waiting 10 hours in an emergency department, I'll pick up that phone. I'm not going to say it's somebody else's responsibility and pass the buck. So my primary focus will be on being your member of parliament, pure and simple. Well, I'm not a golfer, but if I were to be, when I go golfing, I bring 2 pair of pants in case I got a hole in one. The legislation is not a law that a Conservative government ever passed. We believe in the fundamental freedoms that are enshrined in our charter. And now there are court challenges to the legislation by Quebecers. There are a number of challenges. And we'll see how those proceed. This is not something that the Conservative government would intervene in. It's provincial jurisdiction, but notwithstanding, I think these challenges will move forward and we'll see how they evolve in the courts.
Thank you, Mr. Drabkin. Mr. Drabkin.
I have a lot of friends who, as I say, used to vote Liberal, and there was another disturbing story this week, the second in a month, about a Liberal candidate in Montreal who had a disturbing record of anti-Semitic sympathies. There is still a candidate who's running in West Island with the same types of sympathies. What assurances can you or your party make that you will stand for the Jewish people here and outside and around the world?
Thank you.
Well, I've always stood for the Jewish people.
I'm sorry, Mr. Drabkin.
Oh, the question's for Mr. Drabkin.
You said.
Well, it indeed is very disturbing that not only 1, but 2 Liberal candidates had this kind of vulgarity in terms of their background. Anti-Semitic. And it took the Liberal Party, in one case, 3 months, even after they were made aware of these concerning issues, to dismiss the candidate. And there's one on the West Island now who's won the nomination. The Liberal Party doesn't seem to be concerned about that at all. The Conservative Party has always had unwavering support for the Jewish people in the state of Israel.
15 seconds.
And it'll always stay that way, you can be sure. And we've always fought anti-Semitism at its very root and its very cause. Andrew Scheer has made clear that if a Conservative government is elected, he'll move the embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. And I'm very proud it was the Westmount, N.D.G. Westmount EDA that proposed that resolution. And now that's the policy of a Conservative government.
Thank you, Mr.
Stand with, shoulder to shoulder with the Jewish people and Israel.
Thank you, Mr. Drabkin.